Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee are accused of changing a classified memo before sending it to the White House. Chairman Devin Nunes wrote the 4-page memo, which claims the FBI and the Justice Department abused covert surveillance capabilities in the Russia investigation.
Congressman Adam Schiff, the top-ranking Democrat on the Intel Committee, claims the memo was secretly altered. For more on the memo, let's bring in Anita Kumar. She's a White House correspondent for McClatchy. So, Anita, in an op-ed for the Washington Post, Congressman Schiff says releasing the memo would be crossing a dangerous line, understanding that he is a Democrat and this is increasingly political. Why does he feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, what he's saying in there is that basically things that were done on the House Intelligence Committee had often been done behind closed doors. The Democrats and Republicans sort of had an understanding that even though they're from different parties, that they would protect the nation's secrets. And what he's saying is this is getting partisan and it's getting public, and that they normally don't do that.
So the Justice Department has said the department does not want the memo released. And now we're hearing from the FBI saying that they are very concerned about what would occur if the memo was released. That doesn't happen very frequently. But if it is released, do you think the FBI will respond?
I just thought it was extraordinary yesterday when the FBI director, the man appointed by President Trump, came out and broke with him and basically said, please don't release this. What we're hearing at the White House is that 5 career FBI officials went over to the White House to speak to the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, and ask him, please do not release this memo, that it would be dangerous, that it doesn't tell the entire truth of what happened, of their investigation. It's missing some key points, and that it also relies on classified material that they're never going to release, and so that the public would not get the correct picture. I mean, him coming out publicly and saying that yesterday was truly extraordinary. As you know, the president has fired one FBI director. It did not look good yesterday. Obviously, the director must have felt very strongly to come out publicly that way.
Indeed, and in fact, Anita, as you know, you've just said how extraordinary this is to break away from the president. He was handpicked by President Trump. Let's remind our viewers. Here's the question that I have for you, and maybe this is something that is still murky for a lot of our viewers. Did Christopher Wray, I've seen Republicans going on cable networks saying that the FBI director saw the memo at some point before the revelation that he told President Trump he doesn't think it should be released and had no problem with it. Is that accurate? Did Christopher Wray see the memo a couple of days ago, several weeks ago, and had no problem with it then, and yesterday finally went to the White House and said, we don't think you should release it, or had he not seen it?
Yeah, I mean, he did. It's clear that he did see it, but we're hearing conflicting information. We hear some people are saying that he didn't have a problem with it, as you mentioned, and others saying that he had a problem with it. And I'll just remind people again that FBI officials did go to John Kelly, the Chief of Staff, and say not to release it. So it's sort of unclear, and we're hearing it's not surprising, but on this we're hearing two sides of that, two different pieces of information.
All right, we want to talk about something else now with you, the Mueller investigation. We are hearing now that Robert Mueller's team is very interested in Hope Hicks, her side of the story about that Trump Tower meeting. It's alleged that she said something about the email chain with Donald Trump Jr., that it would never get out. Now, you know, the issue with those words is we really don't know how she said it. If she said, oh, it'll never get out, or, oh, it'll never get out, and it's tone makes all the difference. Right. But how do you think this could impact the investigation?
You know, all roads seem to go back to this Trump Tower meeting and what the White House and what President Trump and his son said about that meeting. So it's not surprising that this has come up again. It's also not surprising that Hope Hicks is a person that they want to talk to. She's very close to the president, one of the longest serving aides that he's had, you know, way before he was in the White House or running for president. So it's not surprising. What is surprising is that most of the lawyers in this case, including her attorney, haven't said very much. But her lawyer pushed back very hard on this report in the New York Times, saying that is actually, completely inaccurate, that she never said anything like that at all. So, they're saying that it's just not true at all. And of course, we haven't heard otherwise. We just don't know.
All right, Anita. Finally, President Trump tweeted that Democrats are, quote, doing nothing about DACA as the March 5th deadline approaches. What is the latest on Capitol Hill on that front?
Oh, it's always something new every day. I mean, the latest is that there are bipartisan groups in the House and the Senate. They are meeting about DACA, Dreamers, as well as border security and some other measures to cut down on legal immigration in the United States. They're coming up with some agreements, but it doesn't sound like there is one agreement that everybody agrees on yet. The White House continues to insist that it not be just border security and Dreamers. And so they're still far away from this. The president mentioned the March 5th deadline. If you look at the calendar, it's actually a February 8th deadline is coming first, which is next week, where the government spending bill will there's no more money to fund the government after next Thursday, and Mitch McConnell in the Senate says that he'll take up immigration. There is actually no bill to take up yet, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens. What we're hearing from Capitol Hill is that they're going to pass another spending plan for a week or maybe a month so that they can keep on negotiating.
Oh, man.
All right, Anita, before we let you go, this is in silliness news, but it's not that silly if the President of the United States is tweeting about it. Drawing your attention, as you know, to the President's tweet about the viewership when it came to the State of the Union. The President tweeted, "Thank you all for the nice compliments and reviews on the State of the Union speech. 45.6 million people watched, the highest number in history." But in fact, it wasn't the highest number, was it?
I saw that it wasn't the highest number, but I actually just saw that Fox News is reporting that it was the highest number. I'm actually not sure what it is, but the president loves to talk about how he has the biggest crowds and the biggest audiences, so it's sort of not surprising that he couldn't resist doing that today.
So let's just give the president one benefit of the doubt, which is that back during President Obama and President Bush's State of the Union addresses, streaming capabilities, we are CBSN, we stream, was not available. So, but the Washington Post and New York Times and others have numbers here. President Obama's first State of the Union address in 2010, 48 million viewers, and President Obama's joint speech to Congress, joint session speech in 2009, 52 million viewers, and I believe President Bush's numbers were slightly higher as well. But again, not counting streaming, perhaps the president is taking that into account.
No, I'm just remembering back to that day, the day after the inauguration, where Sean Spicer came out and told us all that it was the biggest audience ever. So it's not surprising.
Yes. And then it was all about the words, because I think they were including possibly streaming, or
YouTube,
were they? It got a little convoluted. Anita, Kumar, thank you so much for your time.
Sure, thank you.